Hey guys, how are you? Today I am currently doing some halo tops for a display case that's going off to Sweden. So what I've done, I've started off with our usual, this is pretty much our usual display case. When we first started doing display cases, what I said to people was, you select the case and I'll provide it and I'll just fit the lights in and whatever. And we've kind of changed that and just gone with just pretty much these generic watertight cases from CPC. They're really good actually, I'm really pleased with them. And the reason for that is that we did a couple in the beginning we did one that was a Festool case, we did a DeWalt case, we did Makita or Milwaukee, something like that. We did a few different ones. And the idea is that it fits in with your stackable tools. But I think the feedback is generally that people probably don't want our displays necessarily in with their stacker tools. I was thinking about what was in people's vans and how you would store it, but it seems to be that everyone seems to prefer these. So this is what we're using. Now what I do, it comes with these particular cases come with pick and pluck foam. And what I'm always doing is taking out the pick and pluck and just keeping just the frame. Now don't worry, this doesn't get wasted. We either use it in the workshop for protecting bits and pieces going into cases, or by the time we've got too many of these, we end up using the foam for packaging, so it gets another life. Why not, eh? Oh, there we go, that's gone, whatever. So the idea is, I'll tilt it up, is that it goes inside the case here for us to put a piece of shadow foam in over the top, and it just keeps the shadow foam from sinking too far into the case. And this one, which is the base foam, I think we just don't use at all. And again, so it ends up with packaging, packing out and whatever for other bits and pieces. So I'll throw that over there. Again, you can't see off screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some shadow foam, and I don't know, if I can find some space over there, maybe I'll set up over there and we'll start running it over there and you can see what's going on. Oh guys, so let's get this straight. So I've just started recording, I didn't have the sound on, I've cut my finger, I'm bleeding everywhere. Let's move Max's bag out of the way. That's pretty, these knives are like surgical, aren't they? Yeah, alright. Hopefully that's usual, right? Anyway, what I was saying was that the foam, the new foam, is much better than the old stuff, because the old stuff you had to cut out the bottom, whereas on the new foam you kind of don't. You can kind of just go to one of the layers, and this particular foam is 50mm thick and has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers to it, which just makes it a little bit easier. So there's our cutout. Now this display is going to be super easy in that it's going to be three halo lights. Now normally I position all the halo lights over here, but I don't know whether or not to do that or put them in the middle, because they're the only lights that are going in this. I'm kind of getting the feeling that I should do it in the middle. So So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to position the 3 here. It is only 3 lights, but I always want to make sure that there's spare space in the case for future editions. I might push these up just a little bit, but that will be the idea. So let me get those cut out. Show you that. I haven't thought about something. These lights are going to Sweden, right? These lights are going to Sweden.
Yeah.
The driver that I put in this box.
Yeah.
What plugs? What's their plugs like in Sweden? Belts. So guys, on with the brass light. What I need to do is change out my hand finishing tool, sanding tool, whatever you want to call it, to a 240 grit belt. Well, we actually kind of vary between 120 grit and 240 grit, but either actually give a really nice brushed finish. Honestly, despite the fact that they're meant to be noticeably different, I couldn't tell the difference between the end finish that they give. Sorry, very noisy. Sorry. So we machine this on the lathe, which is a piece of acrylic. We machine out of 40 mil solid bit of bar, and we part this off and everything and thread it. So it's machined from that, and then we use a special glue to glue brass plates or stainless steel or copper plates onto the acrylic. Now the only thing we have to be a little bit mindful of is the heat, because while we're sanding it can produce a lot of heat. We don't want it to get too hot, otherwise it will literally just undo the glue. I think the glue's rated to 100C, but I mean you can easily get well above 100C when you're sanding. So what I do, I kind of run back and forward to try and get a nice consistent finish. And if anything, I should do the sides first actually. I need to get the glue off the sides. So I run it in this gap here. And I want to kind of get the acrylic to marry up with the outside of the brass. There's also, so when we buy these in, these are like laser plates. So let me just grab one. So we buy these as like little laser plates, and when they laser them, there's obviously they laser it out of a big sheet, and where the laser kind of overlaps, it leaves a tiny little burr that we have to kind of get off as well. It's really small, so brass is really easy to sand anyway. Brass and copper both sand pretty well. Stainless steel is really hard. Aluminium's easy. I'll do that. I think I managed to get a little bit of glue on the back somehow. So I'm just going to give it a little light sand on the back, and then I'll do the top. The great thing with raw metals is that on site, because this is in the ground or in a wall, whatever, if it ever gets scratched, it can be refinished. And it can be refinished on site. Someone can just get a sanding belt like that. You know, if you've got a fine tool, a Makita, Milwaukee, whatever multi-tool, whack on a 120 grit sander or a 240 grit sander and just go on it. Yeah. Well, I say a multi-tool probably won't work. We need something with a belt that runs in one direction, because you don't want it being random. We don't random orbital. You want it in one direction. But that is the end result of just doing that. Now the edges are a little bit different, so I don't know if you'll see on this, but the edges are a little bit, you can kind of see where the grit is. So what I do is I get some 1200 grit paper, it says 3000 grit, this will do. Again, I vary it. And I just run around the edges like this. And then we get quite a nice consistent frosted edge. Right. So, 3 holes for 3 lights. Now we haven't yet finished the assembly on the lights. The tops though, I don't know what order we're doing them in, it probably doesn't really matter. But these are the halo tops. So basically what's going to happen is each top's going to sit beautifully like that. And it'll be your 3 finishes of halo top there in this one case. Now, as me and Max just discussed, we need to do something about the driver, so I'm going to message the client and ask what they want to do about it. Maybe they'll say they've got a plug that they can use and put on. Maybe they'll say they'll wait for us to get one. Not a problem. Completely up to them. We'll find out. But that case is nearly done. So what I'll do is I'll post an image at the end, and you'll get to see what the final finish looks like.